Okay, so welcome to this Teach and Tech week session. As I said, what we're going to do to start with, I know some people are going to drop in now as we start, but I'll just get you guys logged into at least the software that we're going to use. So Canva is it's a browser-based design software. If I share my screen, then you guys can see what I'm actually doing. It links to Google, so you don't have to sign up separately to Canva. You can log in using your Google account, which is quite handy actually. And then anything you save into it or design into it can be attached into your Google Drive, etc. Those kind of things. So what I'm going to do is I'll paste the link into the chat. So canva.com, you can Google it or you can bookmark it, whatever you feel the need to do. If I just log out of it, then obviously you can see it's quite easy to sign in. You should be faced with this screen here, and then you can either join with your email address, or you can just log in with Google, and then it will just log in with your college account, and then you're ready to go then. So if you guys want to get logged into Canva at least, then that bit's underway, and then we can kind of have a start to have a look at what I've designed within it. And I'll talk you through the basis of why I did start to build these kind of PDFs that are clickable. Okay, so the kind of the thinking around it was while I was remote teaching, I was getting a lot of students kind of going, I don't know where anything is, I can't find this, I can't find that. And I was kind of like, it's all on the Google site. It's all on the Google site. Go on the, so I use Google Sites quite a lot. So this is one of our Google Sites that we use for one of our courses. And as you can see down the left-hand side, it's got all the units. And I was teaching in particular Unit 20. So it starts to get a bit heavy when you start to go into it, and you can start to see there's quite a lot of content we cover. We cover blood, and then we cover some stuff around histology and screening, and there's a lot of content in the site. So it's quite difficult for students to kind of pinpoint exactly what they needed to find in order to complete their assignment work. So what I started to do is started to design kind of course overview sheets that gave them the clickable links to the places that they needed to get get themselves through the assignment. And this was quite handy as well, where this was during January. There were second year level 3 students. A lot of them were going off and doing interviews for university, obviously on online interviews. So they might have been missing sessions, things like that. So they could drop in. And these are basically what I designed. So these two documents on the left and the right are both PDFs. So you can open them up full screen. So they're essentially PDFs, and you can design them as however you like. So I can kind of show you how you go about doing that. But the key part of it was that the blue writing are clickable links. So for example, if they wanted to drop into the week 1, they could click where it says Intro to Blood slides, and it takes them through to my slides that I used. And then they can click back out of that. And if they keep this PDF open, then they can click through, and then this particular bit takes them through to a Google form, and the Google form asks some questions based on the content in the PDF. And it kind of takes you through the course like that. So that's what a clickable PDF essentially is. Are you guys interested in learning how to build one?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Hi, Hayley. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, sorry I'm a bit late. I just had to start my class off.
No problem. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
What I've just shown everyone is these are the PDFs that I built, and they contain clickable links inside them. So everywhere you can see blue underline writing is a clickable link. And it takes you through to any kind of resource, anything that's a link, anything that's digital, you can click it. So for example, we click that one, it takes me through to a website that doesn't work, which is quite handy. Ignore that one. I don't know what's happened there. I'm gonna have to check that clickable link. So that's the problem with these clickable links. You need to check they stay live. So they're not completely flawless. And then we're gonna be using a software called Canva.com. Okay, so if you've used it before, then that's great. If not, then there's the link to it there. So Canva.com.
Brilliant. Yeah, that looks great. Thank you.
Brilliant. And you can log on to it using your Google account. Okay, so if you log in using Google. Brilliant. So I mean, I've started using Canva personally and professionally as well. So I make homebrew, and I make beer labels for my bottles of beer, and I do that using Canva, and you can download the images free of charge. I've done a bit of stuff around, so some stuff for marketing, for example. So you can design neat little posters like this. So it's all kind of put together. You don't necessarily need a lot of kind of digital media skills to be able to use it. It's quite straightforward. It's kind of limited by your own creativity in some respects. So these are the PDFs that I produced myself. So I think I can probably share these with you guys. So if I just copy the link, and then you've always got that as a template then, and you can make a copy of it. So obviously, please don't edit them. But if you want to base yourself off one of these PDFs, you can go to File, and then you can go to Make a Copy. So it's a bit like Google in that respect. If you can use, like a Google Doc or Slides or something like that, you can make a copy, and then you can do what you want with it then, and you can edit it in that respect. Okay, so feel free to do that, but obviously try not to edit my original copy, because that, although actually if you do, it doesn't link to the site. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start with is I'm probably going to start with a blank template, just so you guys can see that's how we're going to start to build this up. So I'm just going to go for an A4 document as a starting point. So I don't know if you guys I did that quite quickly, didn't I? So if you're on the home page, you just create a design in this top right hand corner, and you click create a design, and then you drop down, and you've got all these all sorts of options. You can do all sorts of stuff in Canva. I don't know what I've clicked there, but I basically I'm going to work off we want an A4 document. Okay, because you might want to print these off as well. Not that they're particularly useful as a clickable link if they're printed, but it depends on what you're trying to do with the particular document. And then what you want to do then is you just want to start to have a bit of a play around with the settings. So you've got the option to add text. You can add elements like shapes, lines, images. It's all kind of there. So and there also are some templates. So you might be able to find something that you like within the templates. Again, it kind of depends what you're trying to design. I basically, when I was doing this, I started with a base idea that I wanted to share weekly kind of updates or weekly structure to a course. But I also designed one like this, which is slightly less weekly based, and it covers an entire assignment. This particular one, so just zoom in a bit on that one, and it takes them through. Where can they find the information they need to start the assignment? So you've got the Google site, you've got the help sheet, perhaps something like that, or a brief. I put a video, so you can put in links to YouTube videos. Literally anything that's a link can go into this essentially. So and then I built in some resources to help guide them through. I mean, you can design these however you like. I think what you want to do to start with those, obviously, just start to kind of build in your heading. So start with your heading. That can be whatever you want. So I'm going to go with blood because I teach science. So we're going to do a session, a page in blood. And then what I think I probably want to do is make this look quite nice. So I'm going to go if we go more and then go background, something like that. Looks like blood. And you can play around with this. You make it look as nice or whatever you want really in that sense. And then what you can then do is you can add in a subheading like so, and that might just be like, this page contains links. Something like that, and you can move these elements around. They're kind of like very easy to move around. Like so, just use your mouse, or I'm using a stylus. If you're using one of these new Aces that we got, I don't know if any of you've got those. It's quite well designed for using in this particular sense. What I would then say is if you're going to do these things, make them look good. So put some images in. So just going to grab an image out. So we'll just go with that one there. Save the image. It's generally better to save the image to your computer, and then you can upload them into Canva. So here we are in our section, sorry, in our design. So what we do now is we go to uploads, and then we upload media, and you just click that one, and then you can actually upload from your Google Drive. I'm going to upload from the device because I've just downloaded it onto the actual device itself, but you can go straight into your Google Drive, or any other of the linked medias that you can use as well. So that's quite handy in itself. So we stick the image in, and that can go in there like that. I hope that's fairly straightforward. You can give it a go. Just watch back the video. I mean, obviously I'm recording this. If you want to watch it back, see how you do any of these bits and pieces. What I've also found quite useful as well is, if you want to link this to stuff that you're doing in terms of work that you might be doing with the students. For example, like I might want to link to this page. So what I tend to do in this case is, I'll put an image of this web page instead of using a stock image, for example. So what I'll do in this particular sense is I'll do a screen capture. Do you guys know how to do a screen capture?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's good. It's good if some people know how to do it. If you're using one of the new if you're using a Google Chromebook, you can generally do screen capture in the menu down here. So you can quite easily capture a section of the screen. And it's what I'm going to do. If you're using a Windows computer, you just need to press print screen. And if you press print screen and then Control V, that will give you a screen grab, essentially. The reason I do a screen grab is, say I want to link to this page here. So I'm going to do a quick screen grab. And I'm just going to do a section of the page. I just want to grab that section. All right. So I don't want a video. I want an image, and then I've captured that page, or that image. Sorry. Did it capture? It's captured now. There we go. And then all I'm going to do is upload that again into here. Okay. So that's going in. And you can do that on, like what I've done on mine is I've taken screenshots of worksheets that they might be working on, and I want them to recognize that worksheet, because we might bring it up in a classroom, and then when they're working at home, they might see this on here and they go, oh, that's the one that I need to work on. So it's that kind of visual aid, gets them thinking and recognizing the bits that you want them to do. So what you've got now then, so I've put that's my image. Okay, so what I might do at this point, if you're doing your design, we'll put that there for now. What we're going to do now is obviously make it into a clickable link, which is the whole point of why we're here. It's all well and good putting an image in, but what we're trying to do is actually make this clickable. So what we're going to do is add text, and I'm just going to add that text slightly underneath. You don't have to put it underneath. You can put it wherever you want in that sense. And what I'm going to do is just slightly zoom in on this. Probably not too much, but no, that should do there. So if we click that link, and then what I'm going to put is, I'm just going to edit that. You want something short and snappy. So I'm just going to call that Blood G site, and then they know that is their Google site page. Maybe make that a little bit bigger. And then all you need to do at this point is go into the link that you want to copy, take the URL at the top, and then you can either right click or double click or whatever it is to copy that, go back into your Canva design, and then you go down to these three little drop down bits here, and you'll see this link button here. So you press that link button, and then you paste your web link into there, and that's made it a link. Now what you can also do is you can also make that image, I think you can make the image into a link as well. So if I've clicked that image again, the link option comes up there, and again I can make that a link. So they can either click the image or they can click the writing. And then what I do at this point is I'll go in and I'll edit the color of that text to blue, because generally speaking in a URL, a website design, a blue link blue writing with an underline is generally representative of a clickable link, and you can always remind them in this bit here. Blue is a clickable link, and then you can make that, yeah, you can make that work however you feel the need to make that work, essentially. And then what you'll find then, so you can build in as much or as little as you need to with this. Obviously, with mine, I built in quite a few clickable links. So every one of these blue bits is a clickable link, and you can tell it's a clickable link by hovering over it, and this little finger will pop up like so. That's kind of it in terms of the design aspects. You know, the where you take this is up to you. I mean, you can, like I say, you can stick in elements. You might want to pop a line in, break up the page a bit, put in more images, add more text. It doesn't need to be the most expertly designed page. The key thing is about giving the students the links to the things that you actually need them to access. What we do then is essentially download. So I'm going to suggest that you download it as a PDF. You know, kind of clues in the name of the workshop. You download your PDF, and then that can be uploaded then into your Google site, your classroom, or wherever it is that you want to share it with the students. And what you'll find then is when we open that clickable link, here it is. I can go in and I can click the image, and it takes me through to the website or whatever resource it is that you like. And that's kind of it. It's not like this big showy thing. It's just a really nice way of sticking all your resources into one place for an assignment or for a unit, or for a lesson. Even you could have it as a kind of front sheet for a lesson, and give students kind of guidance through. Maybe you could have arrows that lead them through the content that they need to follow. And I think at this point I'm kind of going to pass it over to you guys if there's any questions or anything you'd like to talk about.
Joe, what type of feedback have you been given from the students with regards to using the interactive PDFs and the G sites?
Yeah, generally pretty good. Where I found it really useful was where if I had a student that either had missed a session or just couldn't find the content they needed, rather than me having to explain it again or find the link myself and then share the link, I could just say, here's the PDF. And you need to click on that image there, and then they were able to find that information really quickly. I think I've only done a few of my units because it's only recently I've started using them. I'm going to try to build more of them for every single unit. I might even do one for every single assignment that I do. I use Google Classroom still. So in science, we use our Google Classroom for assignments only. So we don't store any materials on our classroom. We found it started to get a bit like Moodle with, you know, you end up with loads and loads of things on a page and it starts to get really long. Nobody can find anything. So we just keep Google Classroom for assignments only. What we then do is we put a link at the top of the classroom to the Google site, and we train the students to go to the Google site. So the idea with the Google site is that students should be able to find anything they need within 2 or 3 clicks. So if I've got a student, for example, that's working on Unit 5 and they need some content based around physics, they can go Unit 5, they can go physics, and then straight away they can drop straight into the session that they need to revise. This is an exam-based unit, for example. What I wanted to do then is, you know, we have a lot of maybe worksheets or videos, and you can start to fill your Google site, but then it starts to get really cluttered. So it's a nice way of kind of just putting it into a folder in some respect, if you like. It's a visual folder, and it just gives them those links, but it also gives them that visual kind of clue as to what it is. Like this particular image just here is a screenshot of the worksheet itself that they need to go in and fill in. So that's kind of how we're doing that. Yeah. Created the Google sites, but sure, then have to publish it. You have to publish, yeah. So if you're in a G site like this one, if you've created it, hold on, let me just go into the edit version. So when you're in the edit window, you do need to click publish in order for anybody to see it. So if you've just created it and you've started to put content in, just click publish. Don't be afraid to publish because you can edit it still. Once you've published it, it's always editable. The key thing to note is anytime you make changes to a G site, you then need to publish again. So every time you make changes, you need to republish. Does that answer? I hope that answers that question. I think in some respects, it's just about trying to declutter things, trying to make things really easy for students to find, because you'll always get that excuse, I don't know where I'm looking, I can't find it, etc., etc. If you just really make it obvious to them, like everything you need is here. So, I mean, with that particular hematology one I was doing, I did the first 3 weeks and realized that I didn't want to clutter it anymore. So I did another one. So I ended up with 2 sheets and everything that they needed. And if they worked through each of these components one by one, they'd actually have all the content they needed then to complete the assignment that comes in at the end of this. And it's all essentially there. And it was quite handy for them to drop back in as and where they needed to. Cool.
Joe, I really like the idea of it, just even initially, if you were starting this, is having like it as a unit overview, like you said. Like that would be the starting point, wouldn't it? Produce one for the unit, all of the key links on there, which is then accessible for the students without it looking too overbearing. But what I also like is it's that visual representation of the learning content. And so visually, for me, I just think it looks great. I think it's really good. So thank you.
That's cool. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry. Can I just ask one question just around sort of publishing that I think I got a bit confused with is like, once you've kind of got that link, if you share it with people, can anybody access it and view what you've done, or are there kind of like rights to, can some people not see it? Is it like blocked for some people, or, you know?
Yeah, that's a good question actually, because it comes down to permissions. It depends what you're trying to share. When you're in the editor, what I would make sure that you've done is, so say I wanted to upload that particular PDF. Now at the moment, I would probably, so if you're in Google site here, I would just, if you click like, not that, don't do that, because that's not what I'm trying to do. If you just click somewhere, I think double click, and you get this option to upload. If you upload then your PDF, where's our PDF? The PDF's not there. Right, that's why this is a good question, because I've forgotten how to upload it. No, what you need to do is you need to upload your PDF. I do know how to do it. It's just you have to upload your PDF into your drive. That's the key thing. So if we open a drive a minute, let's just open a drive. I'm just going to open up my files. What you might find sometimes is if you're on a Chromebook, it automatically syncs your Chromebook to your drive anyway, but it doesn't always. So I downloaded it. So the PDF is just there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that PDF into my drive. So it's there. It will just upload it. What I then need to make sure is that I've changed the, is it uploading or not? I don't know if it's uploading. Just make sure it's there. You just need to, it's like anything that you share on a Google site. You need to make sure that you've set the permissions so that anyone can view it if that's what you want, or if it's just that you own with the link. So if you, that's uploaded now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find, I'm just going to click that. So it brings up the PDF that I've now uploaded into Drive. Once that's there, what you want to do is just, go to the 3 little dots and then share. And then click that like you would in any Google Doc. And then what you need to do is go into this restricted bit, and then you can share it with anyone. So you can share it as so basically anyone with the link can view it.
Yeah, that's good. So like we can send it to somebody who's outside of the organization, like a potential student join in something that doesn't have Google Classroom set up and stuff like that. You could send something to them. Okay,
definitely. Yeah. And then what you just need to do then is just go into the Google site, double click, and then click upload. And then not upload, sorry, Drive. You can go via Drive. So you can go via that option there, and then it'll generally be in your recent. So because you've just uploaded it, you can go across. It's a bit temperamental, this arrow. There we go. We got one there in the end, recent. And then basically then it should appear. There it is. It's working. Wonderful. And it drops it in. And then you can move it around as an element and it's there. And then that acts as your clickable PDF and it's in the site. All right, and you can move that around. You can give it its own section. You can make it as big or as small as you like. So sometimes you might want to make it take up the whole page. So you can drag it along. You can make it do that. And then when you publish that, the students will get that view and they'll be able to click into those links. But again, you don't have to share it for your site. You can share it through your classroom. You can share it in an email. It doesn't really matter. It gives you that option.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Cool. So this is recorded as well. So if there is anything you missed, what I would say as well is if any of you are at all stuck at any point with any of this, I'll put my email address in there. Happy to answer questions if you've got any at all. Just ping me an email. The hardest bit of this is probably designing it. I can't really help with designing it because that's just going to come down to your own creative ability and how you envisage this. All I would say is just try to keep it simple. It just needs maybe an image and a bit of text. Try to make it colorful, but it doesn't need to look like the most professional piece of work that you've ever done. Just try to make it look easy to find the things that you want to find in that particular sense. But I find Canva, whatever you design in Canva, it actually just looks professional anyway. So it doesn't seem to make any difference. Okay. Any other questions before we finish? Happy days. Okay, I'll stop the recording there. Thanks very much. I hope that was useful, guys. Yeah. And as I said, if there's any questions at all, just drop me an email.